The WNBA has always been very competitive, with players putting their heart and soul into every game. But lately, the discussion surrounding the MVP award has reached a fever pitch. A'ja Wilson, one of the WNBA's brightest talents, went off on what she sees as a tremendous injustice in the MVP race: Caitlin Clark's rejection of the prize title. What followed was nothing short of explosive, as A'ja Wilson launched a rage, sending shockwaves across the WNBA and its fandom.
Kelsey Plum playing Caitlin Clark, no catch, meaning she's not trying to let her get it back.
In this video, we'll explore the events that occurred, including why A'ja Wilson lost her cool and the drama surrounding Caitlin Clark's rejection. So brace up as we discuss what may be one of the most dramatic moments in WNBA history. To understand why A'ja Wilson's response was so strong, we must first accept her role in the WNBA. Since being selected as the first overall choice by the Las Vegas Aces in 2018, A'ja has been nothing short of exceptional. Her aggressive playing style, ability to dominate in the paint, and leadership characteristics have earned her a household name. Wilson, a two-time MVP and Olympic gold medalist, has constantly been in contention for the league's top honors. Wilson's intense competition and constant desire for achievement distinguish her as a great athlete. However, they also led to her angry response to Caitlin Clark's elimination from the MVP contest. Wilson's aggravation spilled out in a spectacular fashion as he understood the pressure and grandeur of winning the MVP award.
Indiana Fever rookie sensation, Caitlin Clark. It's nothing really to say other than that. She's winning Rookie of the Year. She's a top candidate for league MVP honors. She ain't beating A'ja Wilson for the MVP.
Caitlin Clark, on the other hand, has been surging to the forefront of the WNBA discourse. Clark was drafted by the Indiana Fever and joined the league with lofty hopes, and she has not disappointed. Caitlin Clark, known for her exceptional shooting range, court awareness, and ability to score from nearly anywhere, has made a significant impact in her first season. Many fans and commentators anticipated her not only to win Rookie of the Year, but also to be a strong contender for MVP.
A little step-up action right here.
Boston gets it back to Clark, sidesteps Howard, she will launch and knock down a three.
Clark's ability to perform well under pressure distinguishes her from other athletes. Whether it's hitting three-pointers from beyond the arc or providing clutch assists, she's constantly shown she can carry her team through the most difficult games. Despite this, Caitlin Clark's outstanding accomplishments did not transfer into MVP accolades this season, which has prompted great criticism, particularly among players such as A'ja Wilson.
The WNBA, she's just the fourth player to shoot at least 70% from three-point range on at least 20 three-point attempts.
The WNBA MVP award is one of the most coveted in the league. The award is given to the player regarded most important to their team's success, which is frequently determined by a mix of individual numbers, team performance, and on-court leadership. This year, however, the battle for MVP got acrimonious, with players, fans, and pundits all disputing who should win the title.
Caitlin Clark. It's nothing really to say other than that. She's winning Rookie of the Year. She's a top candidate for league MVP honors. She ain't beating A'ja Wilson for the MVP, but she's beating Angel Reese for the Rookie of the Year. That's a wrap. That's over. And props to Angel Reese, who's had a good year, by the way. Quick hitter number 3 goes to Chicago Sky rookie forward Angel Reese.
A'ja Wilson was once again in contention for MVP following another outstanding season. However, many believe that Caitlin Clark, despite being a rookie, had played at an MVP caliber level, making her a viable contender for the title.
And that's what the worst of cynics and critics do. And so you knew they were going to come for you. You had to know that. Now, to the degree that they're doing so, I get where you're coming from. I get where you're coming from. But keep your spirits up, because you're at a decisive advantage, Angel Reese. You're at a decisive advantage because they made the mistake of letting you know who they are, whoever those people are. And now you have perfect justification for keeping people at bay and not letting people too close where they could potentially hurt you. It's something most people usually learn when they get older. You learned it younger, which is a beautiful, beautiful thing.
Fans and observers cited Clark's domination on the court, ability to lead the Indiana Fever to the playoffs, and record-breaking statistics as reasons why she should be chosen MVP. Many people, including A'ja Wilson, were outraged by Caitlin Clark's exclusion from the MVP competition. But what actually transpired that prompted Wilson's public outburst?
She's pretty incredible. I mean, you watch her and it's unguardable. There's nothing anybody can do to stop it. Like, She's just that dominant, whether it's her mid-range game.
Just 2 minutes earlier, Aja Wilson resorted to social media to express her displeasure, and it was not nice. In a series of angry tweets, Wilson lashed out at the WNBA, calling Caitlin Clark's MVP rejection absurd and a complete joke. She expressed surprise that someone of Clark's caliber could be left out of the MVP race, particularly given her effect on the league this season.
By any means necessary, KP's going to do it on both sides of the basketball, and she's one of the most hardworking players I've ever seen play the game of basketball. She's always in the gym. Like when they say first one in.
Wilson did not hold back. In one of her postings, she said, "I can't believe we're out here pretending Caitlin Clark didn't just change the game for the WNBA. How will you ignore that? This league is sleeping on the future, which is disgusting." Her response was quick and strong, sparking a blaze of debate among fans and teammates. The Twitter storm was just the beginning. Wilson's words grabbed the attention of media outlets and sports commentators who jumped right on the topic. Wilson was clearly furious, not just about the rejection, but also about what it meant for the WNBA. To her, the league's inability to recognize Clark's genius seemed like a step backward in terms of advancing the game and promoting fresh talent.
It's time for WNBA today because we have a big game tonight. Two of the most prolific #1 overall picks in WNBA history. They go head to head as Caitlin Clark and the Fever host A'ja Wilson and the defending champion Aces. Now, A'ja has dominated in their matchups, winning both meetings so far, but we know that Caitlin has just been a revelation in her rookie season, and Clark was asked about the challenges that come with facing A'ja Wilson.
As soon as Aja Wilson's words reached social media, replies poured in from all over the internet. Fans of both Wilson and Clark were quick to respond, with many repeating Wilson's comments. The hashtag Caitlin Clark for MVP started trending on Twitter, with supporters urging the WNBA to rethink its MVP selection. Even players from around the league joined in. Several renowned WNBA players tweeted in favor of Aja Wilson's outburst, stating that Caitlin Clark's absence from the MVP contest was unjust. Kelsey Mitchell, Clark's Indiana Fever teammate, tweeted, "I've been saying this. Caitlin has been on fire all season. How is she not in the MVP conversation?"
Two-time WNBA MVP A'ja Wilson joined us here on SportsCenter. A'ja, I hope you could hear some of the stats we were just throwing at the audience coming off that game. You guys started 5-5 in the season, but you've won 5 straight now. What do you attribute to this recent run of success?
I mean, just trusting the process, but also our defensive end. I think we really settled down on the defensive end, and that's where we can really play our basketball. But sometimes you got to trust the process. Adversity hit us a little early, but I'm glad it did, so we can learn how to grind out wins because this league is way too good. So we're slowly getting back to Aces basketball in our system, and I'm feeling like we're at the right time of our season right now.
28 points, 9 rebounds for you, season high 34 for Kelsey Plum. She was reluctant to talk too much about herself a few moments ago with Angel Gray. What do you say about Kelsey Plum as it relates to doing what is necessary to win a game?
By any means necessary, KP's going to do it on both sides of the basketball, and she's one of the most hardworking players I've ever seen play the game of basketball. She's always in the gym. Like when they say first one in, last one to leave, that is.
On the other side, other fans believe Wilson's reaction was disrespectful and unwarranted. Critics claim that Wilson should concentrate on her performance and let the MVP process unfold. Nonetheless, the vast majority of fans seem to agree with Wilson, claiming that Clark's rejection was one of the most contentious in recent WNBA history.
So here is the scouting report from Caitlin Clark. I mean, look at those words. Mid-range game. She can put it on the floor. Defensive player, unguardable. We are witnessing the greatest scoring.
As the uproar over her MVP snub heated up, all eyes shifted to Caitlin Clark herself. Fans and media outlets were curious how the emerging celebrity would react to the outpouring of support from A'ja Wilson and others. However, Caitlin Clark has yet to comment on the topic. Clark's choice to remain silent might be strategic. Clark, known for her professionalism and maturity both on and off the court, may choose to let her game speak for itself rather than become involved in the continuing turmoil. Nonetheless, her silence has not prevented admirers from guessing her true feelings about the MVP snub.
The only reason that I brought up the first part about Angel Reese is this. Caitlin Clark is box office. She is a star, and Angel Reese is to be completely believed that there's no hate, they both get along, they're cool with each other, they're high-end competitors, etc., etc. But you've known they were coming for you when you were waving your hands in your face to mock Caitlin Clark when you were beating her for the national championship. And you also are old enough to know that in this society, whether they want to admit it or not,
some anticipate Clark will ultimately issue a statement or discuss the subject in a post-game interview. Others believe she prefers to concentrate on her next game and is keen to prove the critics wrong with her performance on the court. Whatever her answer, one thing is certain. Caitlin Clark's MVP rejection has become the talk of the league.
With A'ja Wilson, who is having career highs across the board. And there are 3 ways that make A'ja Wilson great, and I'll show you exactly as we take it to the court, starting with her.
To properly comprehend the intensity of A'ja Wilson's response, you must first understand the importance of the MVP award in the WNBA. The MVP award is more than simply individual honors. It reflects a player's effect on their club and the league as a whole. For many players, receiving the MVP award represents the pinnacle of their hard work, devotion, and contributions to the game.
A'ja Wilson with Wilson mid-range, where she's 2 for 2.
For A'ja Wilson, who has won the honor twice, the MVP title means much more. Wilson understands what it takes to be an MVP and is grateful for the honor. This is likely contributing to her displeasure at Caitlin Clark's omission from the MVP contest, as she believes Clark deserves equal praise for her game-changing performance. Furthermore, the MVP award has the potential to shape a player's legacy. Winning the MVP not only secures a player's place in history, but also opens the door to sponsorships, media, opportunities, and future success in their career. For a rookie like Caitlin Clark, earning MVP in her first season would have been a huge accomplishment, perhaps propelling her career to even higher heights.
3 closeouts each possession, and if you do that, you're probably going to have a team in rotation, and you're probably going to have some mismatches.
Clark step back 3.
Another issue contributing to the MVP dispute is the media's involvement in framing the narrative. Sports media has an important role in promoting player achievements, changing public opinion, and eventually influencing awards such as MVP. Throughout the season, the media concentrated on established players like A'ja Wilson and Breanna Stewart, while Caitlin Clark, despite her amazing season, received less national recognition. This media prejudice may have contributed to Clark's MVP snub. As Wilson pointed out in her outburst, the league and its media partners may be sleeping on the future, failing to identify the next generation of potential. The WNBA is at a crucial point, and Caitlin Clark represents the league's future. Ignoring her in the MVP debate sends the wrong message to fans and aspiring athletes who look up to Clark as a role model.
When you're talking about Caitlin, I think there's no denying her ability to influence your offense, right? When you think about different players, you think about, oh, they can really score the ball, they can really push the ball in transition.
A'ja Wilson's response to Caitlin Clark's MVP rejection underlines her status as a WNBA leader. During her career, Wilson has utilized her position to advocate for topics that are important to her, like social, justice, and improved compensation and recognition for WNBA players. Wilson's current outburst is just another example of her sticking up for what she feels to be right. Wilson's leadership goes beyond her team and performance. By openly criticizing the WNBA's MVP selection, she advocates for justice and pushes the league to develop. Her willingness to speak up, even at the risk of causing controversy, demonstrates her commitment to the future of the WNBA and her desire to see players like Caitlin Clark get the credit they deserve.
She's been hot, shooting 43% during that time from the 3-point line.
Wilson all mid-range and all day.
With the debate in full swing, the major question is, how will the WNBA react? The league has yet to release a formal comment on Caitlin Clark's MVP snub or A'ja Wilson's angry response. However, considering the severity of the debate and the broad attention it has received, the WNBA may feel pressured to address the issue. The league might react in many ways. It may address the criticism and explain the MVP selection process, or it could sit mute and let the topic flow naturally. In any case, the league must tread cautiously since this issue has the potential to influence public opinion of the MVP award and the WNBA's dedication to developing new talent.
We do that in the WNBA.
As the MVP debate continues, both Caitlin Clark and A'ja Wilson will surely be in the limelight. Clark's MVP disappointment might inspire her future performances. She's already established herself to be a powerhouse on the court, and this recent development may encourage her to climb even higher in her career. This event demonstrates Aja Wilson's leadership and enthusiasm for the game. While her reaction was dramatic, it also demonstrates how much she cares about the league's future and the recognition of good players. Wilson's willingness to stand up for Caitlin Clark might cement her place as one of the WNBA's most important leaders, both on and off the field.
Some people didn't expect her to be as good as she was early. I did. I thought she would be.
To summarize, Aja Wilson's emotional response to Caitlin Clark's MVP rejection has sparked a discourse about more than just one prize. It's a conversation about the WNBA's future, how to recognize emerging talent, and how leadership shapes the league. As we wait to see how the WNBA reacts, one thing is certain: this will be recognized as a watershed event in the league's history. Caitlin Clark's influence on the WNBA is evident, and although she may have been overlooked this season, her future is very promising. Aja Wilson's strong enthusiasm continues to drive the discourse, and her leadership on and off the court establishes her as a real legend in the sport.
McFinlay, handoff Clark, launches and hits him.
Stay tuned for further updates on this developing topic, and remember to like, comment, and subscribe for the most up-to-date sports news.
You know, this is a dream. This is something I wrote down on a piece of paper when I was in like second grade. Like, get a basketball scholarship, play in the WNBA. Like, this is always something I wanted to do.
The WNBA has long been a hotbed of competitive energy, including some of the world's most gifted athletes, some like Caitlin Clark, whose rapid ascent has created an undertone of dissatisfaction. Also, Teresa Weatherspoon, the Chicago Sky's head coach.
You have to ask yourself that every single day that you live this life. Are you impacting the lives of other people? So I'm praying that the position that I hold tells people.
Recently made headlines at a news conference for what many are calling an unusual outburst, as well as her team's performance. The seasoned coach, renowned for her calm demeanor and great knowledge, surprised everyone when she refused to address questions regarding Clark and the Indiana Fever.
Keep moving! Keep moving! There we go!
How have you liked your attack on the offensive end, Spoon?
This event has caused significant conjecture and debate in the basketball world, prompting many to wonder, what is it about Caitlin Clark that is shaking up the WNBA so dramatically? In this video, we'll examine the controversy surrounding Teresa Weatherspoon's response and how Clark's presence in the league has changed the dynamics on the court, while also ruffling the feathers of established players and coaches.
Honestly, I think setting my teammates up, I think that just like provides so much more energy to the team. It gets everybody going, and when everybody can like touch the ball and, you know, get going in that way, I think it just, you know, everybody just flows a little bit better. The offense flows a little bit better. But that's something I take a lot of pride in. At times I think I can try to like overpass and probably could be a little more aggressive to the basket. But yeah, I think with the weapons that we have on our team.
We'll also investigate why Clark's influence on the WNBA is becoming a double-edged sword, bringing both unprecedented attention and great pressure on the league.
Yeah, I think we responded well after we had to use that timeout early in the third.
To comprehend the full scope of the present conflict, you must first understand why Caitlin Clark is generating such a stir in the WNBA.
I think turnovers are costing us a little bit. If we can take care of the ball a little bit better, we'll be in a better position, but I thought we did better on the O boards.
Clark's performance on the professional stage has been nothing short of remarkable. She is not just playing the game, she is rewriting the rules and establishing new standards.
But they go in. Not only do they go in consistently. And the way she plays the game, she's the true definition of a great player.
Clark made it evident right away that she wasn't your typical rookie. Her performances have repeatedly been jaw-dropping, and her statistics prove it. Clark, who averages 22.6 points.
I'm very grateful starting and playing in front of absolutely no one during COVID, and then obviously my sophomore year we had good crowds. The curtains were down a lot of the games, and now
7.8 assists and 5.4 rebounds per game, and has a 34.6% three-point shooting percentage, is not only making an impact,
slowly developing and getting better and better. And yeah, I think we're just, you know, learning as time goes and each game goes, like we're just getting better and better.
You've had an absolutely whirlwind first half of your rookie campaign. I want to ask you how much you're looking forward to this break, right, coming up.
But also creating history. These statistics are astonishing for any athlete, much alone a rookie. It's a little surprising that she's immediately been the focus of talks about the WNBA's future.
Well, she's definitely taken that golden advice, recently being the first WNBA player that has recorded consecutive 20-plus point rebound games.
However, Clark's effect extends beyond her statistics. Her impact on the Indiana Fever has been nothing short of transformational. Last season, the Fever finished with a 13-27 record, making them one of the league's worst teams.
This is special. I don't know if you guys realize what you're doing for women's basketball and women's sports in general, but you're changing it. You're helping us change it. So seriously, from the bottom of my heart, from all of us, we thank you so much.
However, with Clark at the helm, the Fever have made a stunning turnaround. They're no longer the league's punching bag.
I think it's easy. Like, these people are my best friends, and like, that's not for show. Like, I seriously know, like, I'm not me without all of them, and they've had my back. And
instead, they're vying for a postseason place after already exceeding last year's victory total. Clark seemed to have revitalized the whole squad, transforming them into a formidable force.
yeah, they've both been tremendous. I thought they played great defense. They've made great decisions out of the pick and roll or pick and pop. We got to keep going to them. All right, thanks. Thank you.
The Fever's comeback hasn't gone unnoticed. They're playing entertaining, competitive basketball, and fans are paying attention. Clark's arrival has revitalized the squad.
More than anything, I know these girls are going to be my best friends for the rest of my life, and really that's all that matters to me. I don't really care if we win another game. It's just having these people in my life for forever.
Resulting in an inevitable increase in expectations. However, although the Fever's success story is one of the most thrilling events in recent WNBA history,
Yeah, that's just not a basketball play, but, got to play through it. That's what basketball's about at this level, so I thought we've been really physical. We've missed some bunnies around the rim, and so hopefully those fall in the fourth, but really proud of our team.
it has also resulted in a slew of unexpected repercussions. With tremendous success comes considerable attention, not all of which is beneficial.
Caitlin Clark's name out of that soliloquy that you dropped about the Indiana Fever. Stop it. You know that. Stop it.
As Clark's fame continues to grow, so does the hostility she seems to be instilling in her opponents.
Stephen A., I'm talking to you, Stephen A., if you had promoted the WNBA more, if you had talked about it more, they would have played more games. Like I had the power to go up to ESPN and say, directors and producers and cameramen and everybody else flock to the WNBA. At the time,
The WNBA has always had its fair share of rivalries and competitive edge, but what we're seeing now with Clark and the Indiana Fever is something new, more fierce.
People are pulling up to games, we got celebrities coming to games, sold out arenas, just because of one single game. And just looking at that,
One of the most striking evidence of this growing hatred came in a recent game versus the Connecticut Sun. During the match, Alyssa Thomas committed a hard foul on Clark, which many fans and experts deemed unwarranted and unnecessarily violent. The foul was largely viewed as a direct message. Welcome to the WNBA, rookie. It was a sharp reminder that despite her outstanding accomplishments, Clark is still seen as an outsider by some of the league's veterans. However, the situation with Thomas is not uncommon. In many games, Clark has faced more physical and aggressive defense.
Give it up for these women, these incredible seniors, and thank you for all that
you've done. Opposing teams seem eager to go to any length to control her, even crossing the line into unsportsmanlike behavior. This kind of approach demonstrates Clark's impact. Teams are starting to regard her as more than simply a brilliant player, but also a real danger to their success.
honestly, I'll take that because look where women's basketball is. People are talking about women's basketball, but you never would think that we'd be talking about women's basketball.
Clark's resilience, however, is her most outstanding quality. Despite the increasing aggressiveness and efforts to knock her off her game, she stays undeterred. She continues to play her signature style of basketball, making impossible passes, scoring long-range shots, and leading her team with grace and confidence. Clark isn't simply surviving the hardships she faces, she's flourishing in them. Given the background of escalating tensions, it's no wonder that emotions are high around the league. However, Teresa Weatherspoon's reply at a recent news appearance surprised many. Weatherspoon, a renowned figure in women's basketball, is noted for her wide knowledge and level-headed approach to the game.
I'm pretty sure I'll be in a three-point competition for everybody to watch at some point. Not everybody needs to freak out. So, but also like, the roster that we have in the three-point competition is incredible. You look at their percentages, they're all 40% three-point shooters. Like, they're shooting better percentage-wise than I am, so they all deserve it. I'll be there supporting, watching them. It's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting. But yeah, I mean, The biggest thing was just like take some rest and make a decision for myself, which is at times can be hard to do. And
that's why her hasty exit from a news appearance, refusing to answer questions regarding Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever, has perplexed many. In all of my years covering basketball, I've never seen anything like that. Coaches are often required to exhibit a sense of calm and professionalism, particularly in front of the media. However, Weatherspoon's reply was anything but calm.
I'm honestly proud of myself for doing that.
I so appreciate your honesty there. And I was talking to Diana Taurasi earlier today.
Her abrupt departure generated more questions than it answered, leading everyone to speculate on what might have provoked such a strong reaction. To comprehend the importance of this occasion, we must first analyze Teresa Weatherspoon.
Yeah, obviously nothing's official, and for this league, like to me, it's like sky's the limit. You're seeing how incredible it can be. You can see how hard it is to get a ticket to get into the doors, how many people want to turn it on their television, how people are traveling miles and miles to come and watch and have an opportunity to interact with the players or just watch the players play basketball live in person. So, you know, obviously expansion is going to really help. The new media deal is going to help.
She is not just any coach, she is a Hall of Famer, a two-time WNBA champion, and a veteran of the women's basketball world. For someone of her standing to respond in this manner implies that something else is going on. One idea suggests that Weatherspoon's behavior stems from dissatisfaction. The Chicago Sky, on which she has poured her heart and her, is faltering this season, but Clark's Indiana Fever is on the rise.
And I think you're just going to continue to see it grow. This is really only the beginning in my eyes. It's the hardest league in all of sports with only, you know, less than 144 spots. Obviously that's expanding, but you know, I'm excited. The people that have been in this league deserve it, and then obviously the people that are going to continue to come into this league are.
It's conceivable that witnessing her team struggle while a rookie like Clark dominates the league is hard for her to accept. After all, Weatherspoon has spent years establishing her image and team, and suddenly a 22-year-old is stealing the show. This might be a difficult pill to take for someone who has devoted their life to the sport.
90 seconds left to play here in the first quarter. Looking for Reese. In fact, Bentley tips it away and off and running. Caitlin Clark.
The Caitlin Clark effect refers not just to her on-court performance, but also to how she is transforming the whole WNBA. Her success has brought the league unparalleled exposure, recruiting new fans, and creating media coverage that women's basketball has seldom experienced before. This increased prominence is definitely beneficial to the sport as a whole, but it is also causing a ripple effect that puts pressure on everyone involved.
Yeah, it'll be fun to watch them.
What was your level of disappointment not hearing your name on the roster?
Honestly, no disappointment. Like, I think it just gives you something to work for. You know, it's a dream. You know, hopefully one day I can be there, and I think it's just a little more motivation. You remember that, and you know, hopefully in 4 years, when 4 years comes back around, you know, I can be there.
Did you have a direct conversation with managing director or whomever's over there at USAB recently?
Yeah, they called me and let me know, and before everything came out, which was, you know, really respectful of them, and I appreciated that. And they did the same for every girl that made the team or every girl that didn't make the team. You know, there's a lot of players in the Olympic pool, so it wasn't like I was the only one they had to call. They had to make quite a few calls.
Are you looking forward to a break, you know, from Olympic action, basketball in general, I guess?
For years, the WNBA has struggled to establish its position in the cluttered sports scene, sometimes failing to attract the same degree of attention as men's leagues.
The craziness of everything that's been going on, and you know, just find some peace and quiet for myself. But then additionally, like, a great opportunity for us to work and get better, a great opportunity for myself to get in the weight room, to work on the court and work at things that I want to get better at that I maybe didn't have time going from college to the pro season. So I'm looking forward to it. But at the same time, like, we still have a month of games where we have a lot of opportunities to win a lot of games. So that's where my main focus is.
What was it like to try to prepare for Team USA? Like, you were in Cleveland when they were hosting camp, but like, obviously you had other things in your mind, I think.
However, with Clark's arrival, the narrative is starting to alter. Fever games are attracting record crowds, social media is humming with her highlights, and everyone wants to speak about the WNBA. Clark is more than simply a player. She is a phenomenon who is transforming the league in ways few could have predicted.
Competitors. They're out there to compete to go win. And when you're in a different uniform, you're just competing to go win. And then a lot of times it's at all costs.
However, this sudden exposure brings a lot of strain. Coaches who previously worked in relative obscurity are now under scrutiny. Every tactical choice, replacement, and post-game statement is scrutinized more than ever before. Some may embrace this transition as an opportunity to get the recognition they deserve finally. Others, however, find it very stressful. Teresa Weatherspoon's response may be seen as a microcosm of the larger problem. As a seasoned coach, she's used to working inside a certain framework, which Clark's presence has upended. The increased media attention, the pressure to perform, and the necessity to adjust to a new style of play are all contributing to a more difficult situation for established league figures.
We did as a team, we spoke about it, we did what we had to do as a team to speak about how we conduct ourselves, and we moved on from there. The world kept speaking, you let the world keep speaking, but
there's also the issue of playing style. Caitlin Clark plays a daring style of basketball with dangerous passes and long-range shots. This style contradicts professional football's old norms, and for more conservative coaches, it may seem to be an affront to the right way to play. Clark's performance demonstrates that there are other ways to win in the WNBA, but it also forces coaches and players to reevaluate their approaches to the game. Then there's the money side. Clark's success brings more money and attention to the league, increasing the pressure on everyone to excel. Coaches who are unable to adjust to this new age may find themselves swiftly out of job, while slow-moving players risk falling behind. The stakes have never been greater, and for some, this is a tough fact to accept.
The Sky shooting 38%. Caitlin Clark, another three-pointer.
As we look forward to the WNBA playoffs, it's evident that Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever will play key roles in the drama that awaits. The league's fans are ecstatic right now. The Fever's turnaround, paired with Clark's brilliance, has created the potential for one of the most exciting playoff runs in recent memory. Clark's presence, however, presents a big challenge to the league's other clubs. How do you prepare to play against a player who seems to have a response for everything? How can you stop a club that has been building momentum all season? These are the questions that coaches and players are considering as they prepare for the playoffs. Teresa Weatherspoon and the Chicago Sky face an especially hard path ahead. The Sky have yet to find consistency this season, and if they want to make a long postseason run, they must find a way to stop Clark. Weatherspoon's outburst at the press conference may be seen as evidence that she is feeling the strain more intensely than ever before. But if we've learned anything about Weatherspoon, it's that she's a fierce competitor. She may have been frustrated, but you can guarantee she'll be doing all she can to prepare her squad for the next task.
Style being here is really hurting Chicago tonight. Kennedy a guard, but so effective in the paint. And Boston now has gone back to...
Meanwhile, the Indiana Fever are entering the playoffs with confidence they haven't felt in years. Clark has given them the conviction that they can defeat anybody, which is a dangerous mindset for their opponents. The Fever's success is due to more than just one player, but there is little doubt that Clark is the driving force behind their extraordinary turnaround. As the playoffs come, all eyes will be on Caitlin Clark. Can she keep performing at this great level when the stakes are highest? Can she guide the Fever to a long playoff run and possibly a championship? These are the issues that will define the playoffs, and the answers will most likely have long-term implications for the WNBA. But regardless of what happens, one thing is certain: Caitlin Clark has already altered the league in ways that will be felt for years. She's more than simply a newcomer. She's a game changer, a pioneer, and a force of nature. As the WNBA evolves, athletes like Clark will help mold its future.
But Caitlin Clark is a special player. She reminds me of a Steph Curry. You know, a lot of times she takes those ill-advised shots that me and Chuck don't like.
The WNBA is undergoing a seismic transformation, with Caitlin Clark at the center. Her entrance not only raised the standard of play, but also drew increased attention and scrutiny to the league. Some people, such as Teresa Weatherspoon, are having difficulty adjusting to their new world. Clark's effect, on the other hand, is a step forward for the WNBA as a whole, a look into a future in which women's basketball is given the credit it deserves. As supporters, we are fortunate to be here at this historic time. The 2024 WNBA season is shaping up to be one for the ages, with the playoffs promising even more drama, excitement, and memorable moments. Whether you're a die-hard fan or a casual spectator, now is the moment to tune in, because Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever are doing something unique.
Final few seconds. Caitlin Clark, a career-high night. The Fever put up 100 and take the series.
So as we prepare for the playoffs, let's continue the discourse. What do you think of Teresa Weatherspoon's reaction? How do you see the Caitlin Clark effect playing out in the postseason? Most importantly, who do you believe will come out on top? Please leave your opinions in the comments section below, and remember to subscribe to our channel for more WNBA news, analysis, and updates. The future of women's basketball looks brighter than ever, and Caitlin Clark is leading the way. The only issue is, who is ready to take on the challenge? Did you know that Caitlin Clark has seized the limelight in women's basketball, putting luminaries like Swoopes in the background? Yes, you heard it correctly. Caitlin Clark has become the buzz of the town, a household name, and the WNBA's brightest light. However, with that focus comes a barrage of criticism, and shockingly, some of the sharpest criticism has come from inside the same league she is revitalizing.
Here's Clark. Clark looking to take it around Lloyd. Clark bodies in and finishes.
Clark's contribution to the game is unquestionable. She's more than simply an excellent player. She's a game changer. She has been rewriting the record book since she first walked onto the court.
I think it's easy. Like, these people are my best friends, and like, that's not for show. Like, I seriously know, like, I'm not me without all of them, and they've had my back, and they do a lot of dirty work for me to be able to have the fun and take crazy shots.
And this is not an exaggeration. Every time she plays, she has a high possibility of setting a new standard, breaking a record, and taking the game to new heights.
Thank you everyone for being here. Like I said, I expect these crowds forevermore, because this is just the beginning for women's basketball here in the state of Iowa. Give it up for these women, these incredible seniors, and thank you for all that you've done.
However, her spectacular ascent has resulted in an equally intense surge of jealousy, and not only from her opponents. Surprisingly, some of this criticism has come from WNBA luminaries who, rather than recognizing Clark's accomplishments, seem to belittle them.
The people that have made it the most special, obviously my teammates, my coaches, but it isn't what it is without all of you, so seriously, I mean that, and I thank you.
One of the most outspoken detractors has been Swoopes, a name associated with brilliance in women's basketball.
Yeah, that'll go in the record books as Caitlin Clark is the all-time, whatever it is, I don't even know what the number is, but that's the way it'll be, and I don't think it should be.
Swoopes is a legend in her own right, winning collegiate championships, Olympic gold medals, and WNBA crowns. Her legacy in the sport is safe, but her recent statements regarding Clark have generated more than a few questions.
So I waited until halftime of the All-Star game, and so I went over and, talked to him for a minute and introduced.
Swoopes seems to have taken issue with Clark's attention and praises, and she hasn't been hesitant in expressing her opinions.
This isn't just for Caitlin, but you asked me about Caitlin. If you're going to break a record, to me, if it's legitimate, you have to break that record in the same amount of time.
Swoopes made a bold comment, claiming that Angel Reese's game would be more suited to the WNBA than Clark.
And Angel Reese knows a ring is coming.
At the time, that was a reasonable perspective, particularly given Reese's tough style of play and defensive skill.
She had just made a shot or something. She came over to the bench and she just stood right in front of us and was just clapping at us, and we all, there was just a picture of us surrounding her.
But when Clark continued to dominate, Swoopes' words changed tone. She began to criticize Clark's game.
So I'm right-handed, but I love going left. I don't know how that makes sense, but I do. And everybody knew what my signature move was, but nobody could ever stop it.
Claiming that her NCAA points record was based on volume shooting rather than technique, Swoopes claimed that Clark was taking too many shots and that her success was based on number rather than quality.
Well, Caitlin should have broke that record in 4 years. But because there's a COVID year, and then there's another year, you know what I mean? So she's already had.
Many members of the basketball community were offended by these remarks, and with good cause. Clark's accomplishments speak for themselves.
Tremendous. She just dominates. Honestly, we probably should have got her the ball a little bit more, but they play pretty much a front defense on her, but she's just tremendous. She's really good, and
she isn't simply piling up points, she's doing it effectively and in a manner that benefits her team. But Swoopes wasn't finished. Even after she apologized for her original remarks, she continued to attack Clark, both physically and metaphorically.
She's a senior, but I think her COVID year was last year.
Swoopes' criticism did not end with Clark's collegiate tenure. Swoopes continued to belittle Clark's accomplishments once she joined the WNBA. Despite the fact that Clark began to shatter records in the professional league, Clark has already broken many WNBA milestones, including the most consecutive point-assist double-doubles in a rookie season, the most double-doubles by a rookie guard, and the youngest player to achieve back-to-back double-doubles in points and assists. And that's just the beginning. She has also established multiple franchise records with the Indiana Fever, cementing her place in history in only one season.
Looking back over my 4 years is just, I'm very grateful, starting and playing in front of absolutely no one during COVID, and then obviously my sophomore year we had good crowds, the curtains were down a lot of the games, and now
Caitlin Clark is the all-time, whatever it is. I don't even know what the number is, but that's the way it'll be. And I don't think it should be.
Swoopes has decided to dismiss these successes, instead focusing on other players such as Lexi Hull, Kelsey Mitchell, and Aaliyah Boston. While these players have delivered outstanding performances, it's difficult to overlook the reality that Swoopes seems to be intentionally removing Clark from the discourse. This selective acknowledgement has not gone unnoticed, prompting conjecture that Swoopes may have a personal prejudice against Clark.
Those guys, I've just put my head down, I focus on the work. You start counting, then all of a sudden you start thinking about the inordinate amount of work that you're doing.
Stephen A. Smith, renowned for his strong beliefs, recently chose to weigh in on the issue. Smith chastised Swoopes for her biased viewpoints, noting that it's hard to discuss the Indiana Fever's recent success without mentioning Clark.
Everybody else had over 20,000 plus. You think that would happen if Caitlin Clark was on that team?
He chastised Swoopes for failing to give Clark the recognition she deserves, particularly given Clark's significant contribution to the team's improvement in the rankings.
In regards to Clark, starting with WNBA legend Cheryl Swoopes herself. She recently spoke on her podcast, Queens of the Court.
Smith didn't mince words, emphasizing how Clark has not only led the Fever, but also established attendance and viewership records. Clark's games had the greatest attendance and TV ratings. Despite this, Swoopes continues to minimize her significance, focusing instead on other players.
To me, I sat there and I feel very proud of what I've done, what I've accomplished, and I look at all the women who came before me, those who will come after me.
This has sparked a bigger discussion about why Swoopes and maybe others in the league seem to be disparaging Clark's achievements. Is it jealousy? Is there a reluctance to give the torch to the next generation? Whatever the cause, it's evident that this is more than simply a disagreement of opinion.
No, Caitlin Clark. Cheryl Swoopes. No, Caitlin Clark.
Swoopes' failure to appreciate Clark's achievements is especially perplexing considering her own playing experience. Swoopes understands better than anybody how difficult it is to accomplish at the greatest level, yet she seems hesitant to give Clark her due. Many have questioned if Swoopes is allowing her sentiments to interfere with her analytical process. Swoopes, a sports great, would go out of her way to belittle Clark's accomplishments, which is not only shocking but disheartening. It sends the incorrect message to new players and spectators, implying that even if you reach greatness, you may be forgotten or rejected by those who came before you.
Respectfully, Cheryl Swoopes, you have any idea how that makes you look? You have any idea how that serves to stain?
But if Swoopes felt her remarks would go unchecked, she was mistaken. Smith's critique of her biased viewpoints has pushed this problem to the forefront, prompting a discussion about how we recognize and reward achievement in women's sports. Smith emphasized that it is completely okay to criticize a player, especially a superstar like Clark. After all, nobody is flawless, and constructive criticism is a necessary part of the game. However, when such critique becomes biased or unjust, it loses its credibility. Smith also reminded everyone of Clark's amazing achievements on and off the court. She's more than simply a player. She's a brand, a representation of what is possible in women's sports. Her effect extends beyond winning games. She is altering the way the WNBA handles business, recruiting new fans, and giving the league more exposure than ever before.
Clark trying to shake Whitcomb, step back is good, and hit the mid-range.
It's also worth noting that Clark's path has been challenging. She needed an easier adjustment into the WNBA. Despite her accomplishments in college, she experienced a steep learning curve when she entered the working world. In her first game, she established an ugly record by committing 10 turnovers, the most in WNBA history. The Fever's defeats also piled up swiftly, raising questions about Clark's ability to live up to the promise. Clark, however, did not allow her early challenges to define her. Instead, she used them as an incentive to improve. She worked really hard to develop her game, and the results speak for themselves. Since returning from the Olympic break, the Fever has gone on a 2-game winning streak over difficult opponents like the Phoenix Mercury and the Seattle Storm. Clark shattered several club and league records during those games, solidifying her standing as one of the league's top players. Clark needed just 2 assists against the Seattle Storm to break the WNBA record for most assists by a rookie, which had stood for 26 years. She completed this feat before halftime, securing yet another record. Her performance confirmed her skill and promise as one of the league's all-time greats.
The lead. Look at a Shane Corsten. Clark sings a pass. Ho on the wing. Connects.
Despite this, Swoopes continues to minimize Clark's significance, focusing on other players and even mentioning guys from losing teams. Swoopes seemed to be going out of her way to avoid admitting what everyone else already knows. Caitlin Clark is the genuine thing. This has resulted in a developing notion that some media members and former players are attempting to diminish Clark's successes. This tendency, whether motivated by envy, fear of being overshadowed, or just a reluctance to accept the new generation, is disturbing. It conveys the concept that no matter how much you accomplish, there will always be others who want to bring you down, but Clark refuses to let the critics get to her. She's accustomed to receiving criticism and has often shown her ability to rise above it. In fact, she uses it as motivation to continue pushing herself to new heights. Clark understands that each time she gets onto the court, she has the potential to quiet her naysayers and prove them wrong, and this is precisely what she has been doing. It's also worth mentioning that Clark's influence extends beyond her on-court performances. She's become a role model for young athletes, demonstrating what's achievable through hard work and commitment. Her fame has attracted new fans to the WNBA, and she is helping to raise the whole league. This is something to be appreciated, not dismissed. Clark?
Women's sports in general, but you're changing it, you're helping us change it, so seriously, from the bottom of my heart, from all...
As Smith pointed out, is a game changer, not simply a player. She's lifting her colleagues, attracting new viewers, and advancing the sport of women's basketball. While some may attempt to downplay her achievements, there's no doubting her effect on the sport.
Look at his Diggins Smith. Clark lobbing it in. Boston draws 2 in the corner. Oh, you bet!
So what comes next for Caitlin Clark? If her track record is any indication, she's just getting started. Clark has accomplished so much in such a short period, yet she still has lots of potential to develop and improve. She has shown the skill, work ethic, and dedication to become one of the greatest players in women's basketball history. Skylar Diggins reportedly attacked Caitlin Clark during a WNBA game, and then Shannon Sharpe revealed the issue on national television. This topic has been trending on social media, and we're here to break down every aspect for you. Make sure you stay around because we've got all the background, responses, and aftermath you need. Let's get to it.
A little bit of everything in this one, but the bottom line is Seattle wins, and they go to 2-3, and Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever gave it a great effort, but they fall 2 points short, and they are now 0-5 on the season. My goodness.
To truly comprehend what transpired between Skylar Diggins and Caitlin Clark, we must backtrack a little. Caitlin Clark has been among the most talked about players in the WNBA this season. Leading her squad, the Indiana Fever, she is not only building a reputation for herself, but also ruffling some feathers along the road.
I think just reflecting back over my 4 years is just, I'm very grateful, starting and playing in front of absolutely no one during COVID, and then obviously my sophomore year we had good crowds, the curtains were down a lot of the games, and now it's impossible to get a ticket to get in the door to our games. So yeah, I think the people that have made it the most special, obviously my teammates, my coaches, but it isn't what it is without all of you. So seriously, I mean that, and I thank you. And this is special. I don't know if you guys realize what you're doing for women's basketball and women's sports in general, but you're changing it, you're helping us change it. So seriously, from the bottom of my heart, from all of us, We thank you so much.
Her ferocious competition, paired with her ability to excite the fans, has earned her a polarizing reputation on the court.
Yeah, I think for me, anytime you go up against somebody that's super competitive and, has that same drive and will to win, that's what you love. That's what competitors love. These type of games is what makes our game so great. It's what people want to turn on the TV and watch. I expect the viewership numbers to be through the roof for this. Yeah, I can definitely relate to the pressure that she probably feels on the weight of her shoulders, and that's a lot to deal with somebody that's 22 years old and has that many eyeballs on her, and being able to manage that. And I know she probably has a lot of people around her that help her, and that's definitely something unique.
During a recent game against the Seattle Storm, emotions were already high. The Indiana Fever, captained by Caitlin Clark, dominated the Storm. The game finished in a blowout, with the Fever claiming a dominating win. However, the drama did not finish with the final buzzer.
Tisha Penichero's record for most assists in a season by a rookie. Here's Clark speeding all the way in to the cup. Boston gets it in the arms of Clark. The crossover, the
After the victory, while Caitlin Clark was celebrating with her teammates, Skylar Diggins, a seasoned league veteran and Seattle Storm player, approached Caitlin. Skylar apparently bumped into Caitlin in an unexpected manner, which many are calling an assault. This wasn't a casual brush, it was a planned deed that shocked the WNBA community. Let's be clear, Caitlin Clark is recognized for her passionate style of play and her excitement for energizing the audience. She wasn't trying to be nasty, she was just enjoying a hard-fought triumph. However, Skylar Diggins seems to have interpreted this incorrectly. The event was caught on film and rapidly went viral, igniting a heated discussion on social media.
That will officially do it. Indiana gets its first win of the season against Seattle. 92-75 the final. As Christy Sides and Noel Quinn exchange a long hug.
Shannon Sharpe, a former NFL great and now a well-known sports broadcaster, became aware of the occurrence. He was candid on his program. Shannon went off on Skylar Diggins, criticizing her behavior and supporting Caitlin Clark. According to Shannon, Skylar's actions were extremely inappropriate and showed a lack of sportsmanship. Shannon's response was a combination of amazement and fury. He couldn't understand why a seasoned player like Skylar Diggins would engage in such behavior, particularly against a rising star like Caitlin Clark. Shannon emphasized that Caitlin Clark is the WNBA's future face, and acts like this are damaging to the league's reputation. When Shannon Sharpe's words aired, the social internet erupted. Fans and experts alike commented on the scenario. Some backed Skylar Diggins, claiming that Caitlin Clark's actions were provocative and that she had it coming. Others agreed with Shannon Sharpe, saying that Skylar's behaviors were inappropriate and unprofessional.
In regards to Clark, starting with WNBA legend Cheryl Swoopes herself. She recently spoke on her podcast, Queens of the Court, and didn't mention the rookie when speaking of Indiana's rise in the standings.
The discussion raged on Twitter, Instagram, and other social media sites, with hashtags like #TeamCaitlin and #TeamSkylar trending for days. Everyone had an opinion, and the WNBA found itself at the center of a contentious debate. So what came next? The WNBA took note of the situation and initiated an inquiry. While the league has yet to release an official comment, reports claim that both players have been talked to about their actions. Depending on the result of the inquiry, Skylar Diggins might face fines or penalties. Caitlin Clark, on the other hand, has stayed pretty silent about the situation. In a post-game interview, she dismissed the incident, saying she is focused on winning and does not have time for drama. However, this episode has exacerbated her burgeoning animosity with Skylar Diggins.
To the rebound, Clark, a good look. She got it. Had missed her first 6 from deep. But no hesitation there. What a dime! Clark to Boston!
Let's examine the rivalry between Caitlin Clark and Skylar Diggins. This is not the first time the two have battled on the court. Their competitive mentality has resulted in some heated battles in the past, and this most recent episode is just the latest chapter in their saga. Caitlin Clark, as previously said, is renowned for her fiery attitude and ability to get under her opponent's skin. Skylar Diggins, on the other hand, is an experienced player who has seen it all. The fact that these two are at opposing ends of the spectrum, one a rising star, the other an accomplished veteran, only adds to their conflict.
Listen, I believed in her from day one. You knew that she would only get better and better. She's averaging 17.8 points this season, 41% shooting, 33% from three-point range, leading the league in assists. Her last 5 games, Shannon, 22.5 points per game on 46% shooting, 11.4 assists per game. They've won 4 of their last 5, and now the Indiana Fever are 7th place overall and in playoff positioning. Caitlin Clark is real. She's coming, and I still contend she should have been on Team USA, Shannon. You saw the attendance for Team USA compared to everybody else. If she was on that team, that wouldn't have been a problem. I stand by my position from day one. She's real.
Where are the people that Stephen A? Oh, she don't do this. She not gonna do that. Let her cook. It got so bad yesterday, the Seattle Storm, they pulled their starters so she couldn't get that double-digit assist record 3 consecutive games with at least 20 points.
But why is this competition so important? The WNBA is now seeking to expand its fan base and get more exposure. Rivalries like this one benefit the league because they produce narratives that fans can connect with. However, when things get violent or personal, it may result in unwanted press, which the WNBA does not need right now. This event has triggered a bigger discussion regarding the condition of the WNBA and its players' conduct. Some feel that the league must tough down on unsportsmanlike behavior in order to retain its credibility. Others argue that such situations are just part of the game and contribute to the value of entertainment. There is also the question of how the media depicts female athletes. Shannon Sharpe's words, although supportive of Caitlin Clark, also exposed athletics' double standards. Male athletes are often praised for their passion and competitiveness, but female athletes who exhibit the same characteristics are criticized or labeled as too emotional.
And 10 or more assists. They pulled their starters, and then Skylar Diggins, I think Smith, her last name, she bumped into her, fed up. Let her cook. But if I'm Caitlin Clark, I'd have told Skylar Diggins, get your coat, your brim, and get on out of my gym. Let her cook. I want to know what y'all saying now, because she is legit. She's better, Stephen A. She's better than I thought she would soon.
The WNBA has been battling against the double standard for years. The league wants its players to be seen as strong, talented athletes, but it also wants to avoid the bad stereotypes that sometimes accompany that. It's a difficult balance, and events like the one involving Skylar Diggins and Caitlin Clark further confuse matters. As the WNBA season progresses, all eyes will be on Caitlin Clark and Skylar Diggins. Will their rivalry increase more, or will they find a way to move on from this incident? Only time will tell, but one thing is certain, fans will be watching attentively. Caitlin Clark has already shown that she is a force to be reckoned with, and this event simply adds to her mystique. Meanwhile, Skylar Diggins must determine how she will handle the matter in the future. Will she apologize and make apologies, or will she continue to play the villain?
I thought she would be good. You and I both said she's going to be good because she got 2 skill sets. She can score the basketball and she can assist the basketball. So if one is not going, the other one will. But a lot of people say, oh, this and that. Let her cook. Y'all stop being petty. Stop being catty, because she like a double-edged sword. She cutting tail left and right, and it's bothering y'all, and I see it. Let's go, Caitlin. Hey, do me a favor, CC. Send your favorite uncle a jersey with your autograph on it, and I'll wear it.
Shannon Sharpe's words also had a big influence. His comments are important since he is a recognized person in the sports world. By naming Skylar Diggins, he has drawn even more attention to the problem and pushed the WNBA to confront it. Some may argue that Shannon Sharpe was only doing his job as a pundit, but there is no disputing that his remarks have poured gasoline on the flames. He's made it apparent that he's on Caitlin Clark's side, which may impact how the public sees the matter going forward. Fans' reactions have been divided. Caitlin Clark has a large following, and many of her followers have been vociferous
basketball. You know basketball better than me. You know basketball than any of the pundits. You know basketball better than most of the men that play basketball. There is no way in hell you just accidentally left Caitlin Clark's name out of that soliloquy that you dropped about the Indiana Fever. Stop it. You know that. Stop it.
The WNBA has the chance to handle the problem in a manner that encourages sportsmanship and respect among its players. At the same time, they must be cautious not to crush the competitive spirit that makes the game so enjoyable to watch. So where are we going from here? The incident between Caitlin Clark and Skylar Diggins is far from done, and we can expect more drama as the season progresses. But one thing is certain, this rivalry has captivated the attention of fans and experts alike, and it isn't going away anytime soon. As usual, we'd like to hear your comments on the matter. Do you believe Skylar Diggins was out of line? Or do you think Caitlin Clark should tone down her on-court antics? Let us know in the comments section.